minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running talk show on computers and technology. So, welcome into the program, and I hope all of you are having a wonderful day so far as we get things kicked off here. And and we have a great show lined up for you today as we talk to a company called Ninety7. May not have heard of them, but they have a new line of products out for really one of the latest and greatest lines of products out there, and that is the Amazon Echo, the Amazon Dot, and the entire Amazon ecosystem. Maybe you have been hesitant to jump into it, but maybe this interview will kind of pique your interest and say, hey, we can get we should really start looking into these kinds of devices. So, welcome into the program. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and we are going to get things started here with a few messages, including our social media contest, which can be found, of course, at our website, computeramerica.com. Go ahead, enter for a chance to win an M720 triathlon mouse from Logitech. That's right, we'll be giving one of those away tomorrow, live on the air. We'll read the name, and we'll, of course, have it sent out right away. Very, very simple, and, of course, free, easy to do, and, a lot of fun. So check that out at computeramerica.com, and while you're there, be sure to check out the live video stream as well. That's right, as well as other parts of our website, including reviews, articles, show notes, archives of video and audio. So if you happen to miss any part of today's show, you can head back and listen to it. Oh, and also we have a podcast section, so if you want to take Computer America on the go, well, you can do that as well. So, with all of that said, I think we're just going to jump right into this one. And again, so for everyone out there, we have Mr. Kevin Brennan. He is the CEO and co-founder of Ninety7. And we are going to be talking about their website, 97 Life, and and I apologize if I say this wrong, the Vox that we're going to be talking about today. So, Kevin, welcome on to Computer America.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate joining your call, and I hope I can educate people on our product and our company.
Absolutely.
And people that haven't dipped their toe in the water on the voice assist area, maybe this is a great opportunity to do so.
And that is, I think, part of what you're going to be doing here is that we have had on, companies that do this kind of thing, and we've had kind of correspondents or regulars that are heavily invested in it, but I think you might be one of the first people to actually make accessories for what is known as, make accessories for these devices. So this is going to be a first for us, and I think we should start out with a little bit of your background. What is your background? Are you from tech, or and how did you start this whole Ninety7?
Well, actually, my entire career, I've actually I don't want to give up my age, but it's about 25 years in the consumer electronics industry. Started out with a company out of Chicago that did battery chargers for Motorola, and got in at the ground floor of this thing, and that was before the cell phone industry took off, and went from a crazy $5 million company to $120 million, which had me traveling all around the world, setting up operations both in Asia, Europe. So it gave me really a nice, starting point to a foundation of working in the sort of tech space. Kind of left there and started my own business. I was doing a bunch of sourcing stuff, operations. I actually was the COO of another brand called Lunatic, which was an accessory-based company for iPhone products. And then really kind of worked with a lot of large manufacturers, medium manufacturers. Always had an interest in, really finding great solutions and really good curated products, and the 97 idea sort of for Vox, as you pronounced correctly, by the way.
Nice.
Our first product idea really came out well because we looked at what was going on in this voice assist market, and really how Amazon was sort of taking that entire space over, and the Dot was just kind of a great entry-level product, and just had a couple of we saw opportunities, versus flaws, where it didn't have portability. The sound was really great for voice if you just wanted to listen to weather or something, but didn't have that ability to expand on the music aspect of it. So we ended up taking a look at that and saying, how can we make that product better? And that's really where the Vox was born, and where we came up, and said, let's come out with a really cool premium accessories brand, and it started with this product.
Right. Yeah. And so we have definitely talked about the Dot here on the program before. It's of course Amazon's most entry level device, along with the Echo, and there's one more that I'm currently forgetting. But no, and the Dot is and I think the Dot is, I think, seen by most as the cheapest, of course, but also the least feature rich. So what is the Vox? Is the Vox trying to solve something with the Dot? And for everyone out there listening on the radio, could you describe what the Vox is?
Yeah, so the Dot actually is one of, I would say, at least right now, 4 products in their lineup. They have the Dot, the Tap, and the larger Echo product, which has got sort of the Dot with a speaker on it. And then they just announced the Show recently, which has got a screen on it. Mm-hmm. There's a couple other products they have as well, but in terms of the whole Alexa line, that's more kitchen, in your home base. That's the ones we focus on. So, but the Dot essentially has all the capabilities that the larger Echo has. The Echo you can purchase on Amazon for $180. The Dot was really an opportunity to get a customer into the voice assist market for a good entry-level price. It's actually a second generation of the product line for them. They launched the first generation at about a $79 price point, and I think they might have only done a small manufacturing run of that product just to kind of get it out there and see if that was a product worth them sticking with. So the second generation really was for them to get the cost down, to really make it remove that cost barrier to entry and get people into the Amazon ecosystem. So that one, I think, really it just it exceeded their expectations like crazy. So it's become an explosion for them to get people into that marketplace, and that's where we saw the opportunity to, how do we make that product better, since people are buying that. At one point they actually had buy 5 and get the 6th one free when they first launched the Amazon Dot second generation one back in October. Mm-hmm. So the whole point of that was, if you were to buy this thing for, say, $150, you can actually put one in every room, and that's the way they've sort of envisioned it. But it still had those limitations of it wasn't very loud. It still had to be tethered to the wall because power is an issue. Even on the highest Amazon product, the Echo product that they have, all those versions that they have launched, with the exception of Tap, have no battery in it. So it's plugged into the wall because it is a big power draw for Alexa to always be on. So the Dot, would be in your kitchen, it would be in your bedroom, and it would be tethered to the wall. So we saw an opportunity to, let's elevate the Dot. So, and that's one of our marketing taglines for the Vox. Elevate the Dot. You kind of dress it up, you amplify the sound, and you make it portable. So we really felt, and we also did a really nice fabric design on it to make it very home-centric as well. So there's a lot of added features we did to it. We even actually added an auxiliary port. So if you do want to play music from your cell phone, you just line in from a 3.5 cable, and you're good to play music from your phone as well. So there's a couple other added features to it.
Right, yeah. If you're watching the video portion, we have your website up and we're showing, what the device looks like. And really, when you say elevate the dot, you could take that quite literally as it, kind of raises the dot up about 10 inches off the ground or, off the tabletop and, nestles right into the top of your device. And then, I would assume these little hidden cables that would plug directly into the, dot. And does it strictly add speakers? Is it also a battery? I mean, what does your product really do to improve on the dot?
So it does have batteries in it. We have about a 5,000 milliamp hour rechargeable battery in there. So one of the nice features of this product is we designed it so it works with the Amazon Echo Dot's power supply. So you don't have to get another power supply and find out where it's at. So you currently have a power supply that Amazon provides with the Dot to power their product up. So all you do is unplug from that. You pop our product into the top of the box. It fits nicely, designed perfectly for the tray, and elevates it just a tad so you can still see their iconic LED light when you ask Alexa a command. And it also is good for the microphone array, so it doesn't affect any of the sound when you're asking Alexa something from across the room. And then, as you mentioned, you pull the silicon. It's a really nice soft silicon back where it's got the power in cable. You plug a micro USB into the power side for the Dot, and you plug the 3.5 in. You seal it back up, and you press the power button. Just hold that for 3 seconds, and you're off and running. It's good to go.
Very, very cool. So, and of course, I think the big value proposition of the Amazon Dot is, as you called it, a great entry point. It is. If people are hesitant about maybe digital assistants, if they aren't sure if they're going to be really even useful for them, it's a great way to spend, a few bucks and be able to get it. So I would assume that any product that kind of goes alongside the Amazon Echo Dot, would have kind of a matching price point or a price point that isn't going to break the bank. So how much, would you say one of your docks kind of go for?
So our box will sell. It's selling right now on both at Amazon.com and our website 97life.com for $49.95. So if you look at our product at $49.95, you take Amazon's Dot for $49.95. It's basically just under $100 for the bundle for the two. If you compare that, say, to the Echo or Tap, the Tap is also portable, but you have to tap to use it unless you download their software feature. But again, we give you up to 6 hours of portability for use case when you're playing in about 60% volume for music. You've got some other features, as I mentioned, where you can plug in auxiliary devices to it, and then certainly amplifies the sound. So it's comparable. Even some people have said it's comparable to the Echo Dot sound, or Echo, the larger Echo sound,
right?
Which is 180 from Amazon.
Right. Oh yeah. No. Absolutely. I mean, so, the whole kit and caboodle that you have here is half the price, or significantly less than the larger Echo from Amazon. So, nope, makes perfect sense. And obviously, sprucing up kind of an entry level product to make it look like a mid range product. Nothing wrong with that. So, and before going further, I kind of just have to ask you, who did the design for this? Because, you already talked about the fabric finish on it and that kind of thing, but I mean, it looks, it looks very sleek. It does not look out of place for an Amazon line of products.
Yeah, we have a really good team on my staff, and we're some ex-Nike guys, so we're really very design-centric group. We actually, the idea, is kind of born from just, how can we make this product, work together? And we wanted to also, make it. And one of our other, the way we look at it, sort of our taglines is from an elevating other brands is a 1 + 1 = 3. So we want to kind of take our product along with Amazon's product, which are, they've got a great brand and, presence with this product. And when we put the two of them together, it really kind of makes something completely different, which we feel we accomplished. So doing that, we kind of grabbed some great design brains. We did a lot of different sketches, a lot of different ideas to come up with what you're looking at there. We actually had a lot of different shapes and sizes, but we really thought this kind of was a perfect fit. It kind of sort of fit the Amazon family, but it was just enough different that, we can kind of claim that as our own, 97's spin to it. So that's really what we did.
Right, absolutely. So, and the only thing I guess my next point is you are the first accessory company that we've had for these line of products, and very, very cool. But we have seen other companies, here on the show, and written about in other places, that Amazon did something that I think Apple should have rightly done, which is they kind of licensed out their software to many, many other companies. So we've seen companies like, Bose, and companies such as, every other, Samsung I think has one. Many other companies build full-fledged Dot or Echo replacements, with speakers and their own hardware and their own software. Why did you decide to go this route into, kind of integrating into the Amazon product instead of replacing the Dot with your own product?
Well, to get the API to do the Alexa software inside, I think is going to continue to be a trend with Amazon. I think it's absolutely a great business plan. The more people out there that are using Alexa services, whether it's integrated into a Bose speaker as an example, or some other big brands out there, it just gives that much more access to the marketplace, where Amazon will make that downstream revenue. When you ask Alexa for an Uber or playing songs from Spotify or whatever it may be, you're going to get that. That's just great for them and their exposure to the marketplace. We focus specifically on the accessory because it really is what we want to. We want to be a premium accessory company that really goes after opportunities, whether it's niche or it's something that truly elevates an experience. So we saw this as an opportunity. The Dot's not going away. They're building a lot of them. This is one of the things that they're focusing their product lines on. And if we can actually stay in that lane and not really drift into something where we're trying to be, a competitor to a Bose or something like that, then we felt that this was the better path for us, and something we want to look at well beyond just even the Amazon ecosystem. We have some ideas around the Google Home market. We have some other hardware ideas that are for very big brands that we're also considering down the road. So that was where we felt was a better place for 97 and our focus and our vision for the future.
Right. So by not tying yourself strictly into Amazon, but by starting there, you can of course branch out into other and kind of just as an overview. I mean, how do you see, obviously as CEO and co-founder, of an accessory company focused on digital assistants? That is, you're going to have one take on this, but how do you feel? And maybe for our audience out there who is not sold on the idea of a digital assistant, how do you feel it's going to be in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Are digital assistants really going to make it into people's homes, or is this kind of a passing trend?
I don't think so. I think it's actually going to become more prevalent. I really do. I mean, the more, it's funny when you look at the demographics of who's using voice assists right now and where it's really moving to. You're starting to see a lot more of the elderly market right now getting into it, because sometimes using devices where it's difficult to see or press or whatever, this just to be able to say, hey, Alexa, turn lights on, or Alexa, lock my door, or Alexa, secure my home, gives them a lot of comfort. You're starting to see a lot more now as it relates to really making people that are dependent on others become independent again. And I think that's an amazing, area that's just going to explode. So people actually get their independence back when they don't have to rely on other people to do things for them. There's other areas too where I just think, we're just at the sort of forefront of what this can be. So there's just a lot of great potential right now. And I kind of go back to, looking at the cell phone industry that I mentioned I started my early career on. Mm-hmm. And it really was back in, the days where it was, a bag phone that, you carried this huge thing around, and it was just the coolest thing to make a phone call to somebody. But now you look at the fact that it was just sort of that transactional type product where you make a phone call. Now it's literally this microprocessor computer that's in your hand that you can surf the web, and you literally can run a business from a cell phone. It's crazy how it's grown in really the last 10 years, much less, where that is going to continue to evolve. So you kind of look at the voice assist market really the same way, and we're really just at the front of this thing. So I think it's going to be pretty cool where the days and months and years ahead are going to lead for voice assist.
I couldn't agree more, and it's going to be a fun nugget in my brain that it's like, my grandkids one day, 50 years down the road, are going to say, "What was it like when the first talking computers came about?" And I said, "Well, Domino's kind of started the whole thing, like being able to order a pizza. Like, it has very humble beginnings, just like your bag phone, but every single month, Amazon and Google all have different kind of tricks and tasks that it can do. These products, they get better month over month. They don't get worse, over time. They get better over time. So I think you're completely right in, maybe it's time to start looking at these things. So, but getting back to, the Vox you have here, and again, for everyone out there, it's, and you could probably tell me the exact standard, or, the exact measurements, but it looks like about, a 6 to 10 inch speaker, kind of pillar. How is this thing for music? I would think pretty good.
Yeah, it's actually really good. We really focused on the dot and elevate that experience. So, we have two drivers in it. They're 10-watt drivers, 52 millimeters each. We even have a passive radiator in back. So, it's a really good speaker. It's got great sound. A lot of, just wonderful responses we've had from customers that have already bought from us. So we've really been very pleased. It's one of those products that we just felt like, this was just a great requirement to make sure that you give someone a good music experience, because that's a heavy use case for the Alexa product line. But again, it can read books to you. For people that actually have a hard time, hearing her across the room, this also is just a nice amplified sound for various use cases, which is great. But,
Right.
For my own case, I mean, for me, I just, I have it in my kitchen. It's plugged in all the time. I'm using it there. But when I need to go somewhere to another room, like, I even go to my patio or my deck to sit out there with some friends, I just bring the Vox with me, and I've got, great music to play all night, and can change a station or a band at my voice command. It's just been really cool.
Absolutely. So, and actually building upon that, I mean, the idea of taking it from room to room, that was kind of the appeal of the Dot, was that you could have your Alexa Echo, the kind of base unit, set up, in your living room, in your family room, in a central location, and then you would kind of, scatter around dots around your house, as kind of as an extension to the Echo. But your idea here is to actually make this a portable, whenever you feel like taking it on the go, take it on the go kind of thing. How important is it how important is the ability to take it with you? Have you found it, or have your customers found the ability to make it portable?
Oh, I think the freedom really now is great, because if you just have this thing, and it's funny, I was already chatting with somebody today about this, with one of our customers, is, when they really got the value of the product, is in the past, you would literally have to Bluetooth into, if you want to Bluetooth into another speaker, that speaker's got to be plugged into a wall, or even if it's battery operated, it's still connected with your Dot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with an integrated solution, you could be plugged in, but if you want to go from room to room, you don't have to sit there and unplug it, which would shut the Dot as it stands today. If you unplugged it, it would shut it down. You'd have to then take your Dot along with your cable and along with your power supply and go find a wall to plug it into to be able to have that capability in another room. Now you can just move your box with you to the next room, or to to the outside deck, or wherever it may be, and all you really need to do after the 6 hours of plus of runtime, depending on what you're doing with it, is just get it back to your charging port for use later on. But it really allows you to just kind of be a lot more freedom and portable with it.
Right, and speaking of your products, we've already mentioned the price. They're already $50 and available through, of course, Amazon. You have here white and black, as I understand it. Like any other kind of design people should look for?
So we have right now we're just offering black, which we call carbon, and white is ash. Those are the two SKUs we've got coming out. We're actually looking at a couple other colors that we'll probably launch sometime in the summer. Just to kind of spruce it up a little bit, especially as we hit back to school and move into holiday. And then we actually are working on some other projects as right now that, are definitely in the lab, so to speak. We can't quite share them yet, but, some of them for other brands, some are for Amazon as well. So we're continuing to really come out with a whole line of product accessories that elevate experience, whether it be for the Dot, or for let's say a Google Home project, or even some of Amazon's future products that they have coming down the pipe that they're shipping soon.
Right. Yeah. And I think the last question about the hardware side of it is that you've mentioned you have these great speakers built into this device, but part of the Alexa experience, like you've mentioned a couple times, is the ability to talk and voice, interact with voice. Does your stand have like a better microphone that can better pick things up, or is this strictly kind of like a stand battery speaker kind of thing?
No, the microphone array is used specifically on the Echo Dot. It's actually at the top part of where the LED ring comes around. So that's why, you won't see the Echo Dot, sunk down into our product. It's actually elevated just a tad for that very reason. So the microphone array still continues to have that 360 appeal. So if you ask Alexa any part of the room, it's got that far field technology. It will pick your voice up very cleanly. So we use their technology cleanly 100% for microphone, for all the stuff that goes to the cloud. I mean, we're strictly a speaker that plugs in, elevates it, makes it portable, makes it look good, and moves it around the room.
Makes perfect sense. And and I don't know if it would count as an Easter egg or not, but I just want to let you know that I indeed did find your 97 discount code buried there at the bottom of your page. So all of our listeners, good luck. If you're watching the video portion, I just showed you how to get it. But yeah, so $49.95. What are your future plans for kind of 97? Like you obviously mentioned other devices, but anything people should be looking for in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, I would say the best thing to do when you come to our site is to sign up for our newsletter. We're actually building lists up, and as we get closer to making some pre-announcements, and we'd love to do pre-orders to get people that are sort of loyal to the brand and follow us on our website to get them in early on some future products that we're working on. So I would say that would be a really great thing for your audience to do, because we definitely have some really cool things that we're working on, but we like to hold our cards close to the chest, so we keep our competition guessing what's coming down the pipe.
Gotcha. No problem whatsoever. So, and with that, I think Kevin, anything that we may have missed or glossed over, or if people want to find out more information, where can they go?
Well, again, you can go to 97life.com. That's 90 spelled out, numeric 7, and life, life.com. You can certainly see our product there to purchase. You can go to amazon.com as well, and just search for Vox, and you'll find our speaker there available as well. But again, we are a lifestyle brand that's really going to go out and make great, cool accessories that elevate experiences. And we did that with the Vox as our first product. And we hope, people come follow us and see what we have in store next. After you buy the Vox, you'll find not only is that a great experience, but, there might be a family of products that we come down the road with that you want to keep buying products from 97.
Perfect, and very, very well said. So everyone, and don't forget, computeramerica.com, we have links to everything that we've just talked about. And I'm going to say that, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on Computer America. This was a lot of fun.
I really appreciate you having me, and really thank you so much for the opportunity.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. So, and please, when you do show one of your cards that you keep close to your chest, when you do show one of your cards, please, feel free to come back to Computer America. Let us know what you've cooked up.
Absolutely, would love to. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. All right, and for everyone out there, once again, Kevin Brennan, CEO and co-founder of 97, and of course 97.com or 97life.com. Check it out right there. So one last time, Kevin, have a good day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, and there you have it. So we're just wrapping up that. So everyone out there, if you are just joining us for any reason and you missed any part of that interview, please head on over to computeramerica.com, and we have the full video and audio archive right there available for you. Well, after the show, after we're done with it, we'll upload it right there. And of course, you can find us on iTunes and Spreaker and Blog Talk Radio and Google Play and SoundCloud and anywhere else that you may want to listen to Computer America. We try to, make it as accessible and easy as we possibly can here on the show. So we don't have enough time to start things off, but I will say that computer and technology news is coming up next, and we have a number of different a number of different stories, and just to tease some of them, we have everything from the new the new Samsung Bixby. You may have heard them, digital assistant, keep the whole train running, and yeah, it has been delayed once again. So if you are looking at a Samsung Galaxy S8, well, Bixby is eventually going to come to your device. We'll let you know. But in the meantime, has not really started working with English just yet, which is the big problem. So we have things like that. We have a Skype redesign and what you need to know about that. And spoiler alert, it looks a little bit like Snapchat, if you're a fan of that. So, all right, here we go. And yeah, so, well, actually just one moment as we do this. All right, so, 1 second, folks. All right, so yeah, we're having a problem with our automation system, so we're just going to actually blow through this commercial break. But we do want to say, give a shout out to, of course, Brother Wolf Animal Rescue, and we want to give a shout out to Fire Dragon Security. So Fire Dragon Security, by the way, in particular, they are Computer America's newest sponsor, and we actually interviewed them, so you can go to our website and check out their interview. But yeah, Fire Dragon Security, they do network intrusion systems and devices, and you can definitely check them out at firedragonsecurity.net. All right, so with all of that out of the way, why don't we get into computer and technology news? And like I said, I think our first story that we're going to do is indeed going to be this one. Here we go. So, Samsung, they make a very, very popular phone. And their answer to Siri, which is, obviously Samsung competes on the same playing field as Apple does, and Apple has had Siri for the longest time, so Samsung decided that Bixby was the answer to Siri. The problem being is that Bixby keeps getting delayed. It's just not working right. So this coming from Ars Technica, and yeah, so Mr. Ron Amado, and saying that Samsung's Bixby Assistant still can't grasp English and is delayed once again. That's right. So the Wall Street Journal reports that Bixby is weeks away from learning English. Well, if I'm trying to learn my second language, it would take longer than just weeks, but not a good look for Bixby. So here you have it, saying that when Samsung announced its new flagship phone, the Galaxy S8, and one of them was, well, it was going to have Bixby. That was one of the headline features. And the voice assistant is supposed to be Samsung's answer to Siri. And of course, Google Assistant and Amazon Alexa and yada, yada, yada. But Bixby's voice functionality was nowhere to be found. And that instead, the Wall Street Journal broke the news that the English language version of Bixby was delayed to the end of May. But now that May is over, the Wall Street Journal is back to say the voice assistant is again delayed in the US until at least late June. So they're saying that, of course, they're saying that weeks away from being finished due to the assistant struggling to comprehend English syntax and grammar. And Samsung's first language, of course, is Korean, and has apparently been easier for Bixby to master as the assistant launched in South Korea alongside the Galaxy S8. And if you are looking for, like, seriously, the one-to-one comparison between Siri and Bixby, it's that Siri was created by English speakers, really for English speakers. Wow, I am not one of them. English speakers. And then it branched out into other, really, it had a very stilted kind of language. It could only stand, it could really only understand really perfect syntax. Well, Siri has gotten better over the years, and it has started to work with different accents, which was a big thing. And now it's starting to work with different languages, which is, again, another big thing. Whereas Bixby started with Korean, seems like it has Korean pretty well under wraps, but now it's trying to learn a second language, which is English. So obviously it's going to take some work, and I'm not saying that it's impossible. Obviously Apple has also broached the language divide for other languages as well, but Bixby is starting a little bit later than other companies. They are late to the party, so they have a lot of catch up to do. So at any rate, they're saying that Bixby isn't a mere software feature on the Galaxy S8, saying that the device was designed with Bixby in mind, and it sports a side hardware button specifically for launching the assistant. And Samsung has also hurt the Galaxy S8's functionality as a form of protectionism for the unfinished Bixby, saying that it blocked users from remapping the button and turning it into a general purpose convenience key. And it also crippled the competing Google Assistant so it can't work when the Galaxy S8 screen is off. So obviously they have a lot of eggs in the Bixby basket, and until it's up and running, they're hurting some of the functionality. But at the same time, this is a problem that right now may turn some people off, but in, in maybe a year's time, people really won't be talking about it. So to wrap this up, they're saying that Samsung voice command prowess should improve in the future, saying that Samsung acquired a promising a voice assistant company called Viv, that's right, in October, and it has presumably been hard at work building some kind of voice assistant inside Samsung. So they're saying that Bixby is reportedly based on Samsung's older S voice technology, and the company shipped in devices like the Galaxy S7. So there's better technology, better companies, better minds, better software working on this. But for now, if you are hoping to really get the most out of your Samsung Galaxy S8 and really start utilizing Bixby, well, may have to wait a little bit longer. There you have it. All right. So Samsung, they are in the news for a couple different reasons. That's not the best one. All right. How about we get you hopefully hot under the collar and angry at this next one? Now, again, these cases are rather hard to defend because usually when we talk about them, they have some kind of egregious offenses levied at them. And it's not that we're defending, not that we're passing judgment, we're saying they're guilty, not guilty, what have you. It's the fact that this is happening and the constitutional violations that it implies. This is, again, technology being ahead of the law and the law being flexible in what we really use technology for nowadays. So this is an article from Engadget, Mr. Steve Dent, and a man gets 180 days in jail for not handing over his iPhone PIN number. That's right. This is something that, we've talked about here on the show, where if you want to keep things secure, private, and safe and confidential, you do not use the fingerprint reader from iPhone, and you enter a PIN code, because PIN codes are the best way to keep your device safe and handy. But here we have an article where U.S. courts are still torn on how to handle defendants who refuse to give up passcodes for encrypted smartphones, and judging by two recent court cases in the Miami Herald. And in one, child abuse defendant Christopher Wheeler got 6 months in jail for failing to provide a correct code, despite the pleas to the judge that he couldn't remember it. And in a different court, a judge let off Weasley Victor, who was accused of extortion, even though he also claimed that he forgot his iPhone code. Right. So, The main difference in the case is that 10 months had passed before Victor's initial arrest. And as his lawyer argued, many people, including myself, can't remember passwords from a year ago. I don't know if I buy that as, just as a practical defense, but I mean, you could see the plausibility of it. So instead, they're saying that in the same case, Victor's girlfriend was ordered to divulge her code to police, but provided one that didn't work. She's also facing contempt of court charges and is scheduled to appear next week. That's right. Both defendants are accused of threatening to release, extortion tapes stolen from social media celebrities unless they paid $18,000. So that would assume that or at least the authorities assume that the video would be on the phone. That's right. So the cases underscore the dilemma faced by law enforcement officials in dealing with the newfangled encryption technology, where according to the Fifth Amendment, the very important amendment, defendants have a right to not say anything that could be used against them, including, you'd think, divulging a password. However, the judge in the celebrity case thinks it's not a Fifth Amendment matter. For me, it's like turning over a key to a safety deposit box. And I kind of gotta disagree, because you can only put so many things inside of a small box, whereas an iPhone has, or even a smartphone, you would have so much information. You could have tracking, you could have call logs, you could have text, you could have communications, you could have, pictures, videos. Like, it would be the most overstuffed and incriminating safety deposit box you could ever imagine. And all for this. So they're saying that an accused may in some cases be forced to surrender a key to a strongbox containing incriminating documents, but I do not believe that he can be compelled to reveal the combination to his wall safe by word or deed. That's right. So, and that is, of course, the president that they are, of course, referring to. That, in other words, if a defendant makes the use of contents of his own mind, as the SCOTUS put it, he should be protected by the Fifth Amendment. And that is exactly what your PIN code is. It's not a physical key. It's not a physical way to get into, an object. It is rather, his own thoughts, his own knowledge. And that should not be used against the person who really has it. So they're saying that in Florida, both of the recent passcode cases took place. The State Court of Appeals ruled that the defendants can sometimes be compelled to give up codes based on the foregone conclusion doctrine of the Fifth Amendment, saying that states that if police are reasonably certain of exactly what they're going to find, then a defendant can be compelled to testify in spite of the Fifth. Interesting. So, however, experts have argued that smartphones should largely be exempt from that doctrine, saying that police often have no idea what they'll find on the device, and that it's tantamount to fishing expeditions. And this was exactly, if you remember the San Bernardino terror attack, I mean, again, that was awful, but they used the ability to crack into those iPhones and take out of them really nothing of import, because they tried to hold Apple's feet to the fire. They tried to hold a multi-billion-dollar company to the fire, saying, "Hey, this is a national security, issue. You need to give us access to these iPhones." Whereas Apple said, "You really don't know that. You don't know that, and it's not really within our power to do that." It's crazy. So, at any rate, they're saying that Judge Johnson cited the Court of Appeals judgment, and that's the law in Florida at this point. There's no word on an appeal by Wheeler, but at this point, it seems that the final word on passcodes and encryption must eventually come from the United States Supreme Court. And yeah, it's going to take a Supreme Court decision as to whether or not passcodes are protected by the Fifth Amendment. And that goes for cell phones, that goes for computers, that goes for tablets, that goes for all of them. And should someone have to hand over their own incriminating evidence or not? I don't know. I'm obviously coming down on one way on this, but the other side is that every case we've seen so far that has brought up this issue, the individuals in the case are really hard to defend. You know, one of them, of course, child abuse. The second one, child abuse. The third one, extortion. I mean, it's really hard to defend these people, but at the same time, you know, the Constitution is the Constitution. You shouldn't just throw it away because it's inconvenient. It's, you know, we have it for a reason. So, again, obviously, I'm coming down very hard on one side of this. So, yeah, you know, feel free to, feel free to tell me if I'm wrong. That's live at computeramerica.com. Feel free, and, hey, we'll even read it on the air if you feel that I am wrong on this one. But this is the case that it's going to set a lot of precedent, and it's going to really matter for the future of this country. Like I'm not blowing it out of proportion. It really is going to matter. It's going to make that much of a difference. So, all right. So how about something that doesn't make as much of a difference in the future of this country? All right. How about this one? Mozilla, or at least the ex-CEO, the former CEO of Mozilla, raises, get this, and don't you wish you could do this, raises $35 million in under 30 seconds for his browser startup. That's right. So there's been a whole lot of talk, and by the way, this is coming from TechCrunch and Mr. John Russell, saying that there's been a whole lot of talk about initial coin offerings. That's right. Company fundraising events based on around the sale of cryptocurrencies, but not much in the way of action until yesterday, where that's the web browser maker Brave, founded by former Mozilla CEO, raised $35 million from its ICO. Again, initial coin offering. And it did so in less than 30 seconds. That's crazy. So instead of an initial public offering, they had an initial coin offering. Interesting. So ICOs operate by selling investors cryptocurrency, which can then be used to store value in ways beyond a traditional share. For its sale, Brave created its own coin, saying the basic attention token, or BAT, and sold 1 billion of them, where that collection of BAT cost about 156,000 ETH, which is just over $35 million. So a further 500 million BAT is stored for user growth, and the BAT development, according to Brave, which is not planning another token sale in the future. So obviously, instead of flooding the market saying here's $35 million worth of BAT, you obviously need to make your digital cryptocurrency scarce, otherwise inflation, and it's just useless. So, yep, they had their initial public offering, which was 1 billion of these shares, and then obviously they have another 500 million, which are stored for for future growth. If they need to sell more or they need to raise more capital, hey, you have some in reserves. So they're saying that the ICO is the highest grossing to date, and that Brave's business itself is one of the more interesting to make use of the blockchain, where of course Ike, who's the former CEO of Mozilla, he also created JavaScript, fun fact, but left Mozilla in 2014 in controversial circumstances and had raised $7 million from investors. And that he believes that the current internet advertising system is inherently broken, and his ambitious proposal uses the blockchain to make things more efficient for all parties, advertisers, publishers, and users. That's right. That is ambitious. That definitely sounds ambitious. So, Kik, obviously it's a messaging service, recently announced plans for its own Kin coin, which it will use as a virtual currency to pay for related goods and services, And that's the same approach Brave has taken, where it plans to use BAT, the currency, for its advertising system, which it claims can reduce ad fraud and increase efficiencies for publishers and advertisers. And it is also assessing the potential for micropayments and buying digital goods with BAT in the future. All right, so they're saying that the situation runs counter to the thesis. Actually, let's not skip ahead that far. Let's go to, let's skip ahead a little bit more and say that aside from Kik, which hasn't given a specific date, Asia-based payment firm Omise is gearing up to raise just under $20 million from a token sale this month, as the phenomena begins to find interest among more established tech companies. So, again, we have the former CEO of Mozilla, and he started his own internet browser company. And instead of going to traditional investors, which, sounds like he had some investors already, but he had an initial coin offering. So their own unique cryptocurrency, which they then sold for $35 million. Which, and to everyone out there shaking their head saying, why would anyone buy a cryptocurrency and why would they spend $35 million on it? Well, think of that story about Bitcoin, where just, 10 years ago, if you bought Bitcoin, if you bought 20,000 or 200,000 shares, whatever it was, it would now be worth $74 million. That's right. So for what was an investment of like literally $40, you could turn around and sell that for, $74 million. If this takes off, if this company and this business model, this is getting into the ground floor of a business that if it really does prove to be successful, people are going to make a lot of money off of this. And I mean oodles of money off of this. That's right. So, that is certainly something different, and I bet not the last time we're going to hear about initial coin offerings, but still interesting. All right, so for our next story, I really want to get this one in. So we've talked about this on the show a number of times, and it's the idea of using a password manager. We say that they are safe. We say that they are much more secure than your average, than your average password that you could come up with on your own. But at the same time, there is this one little flaw, and it's storing your passwords on someone else's server. And you have to trust the company that you are using to be competent enough to keep your passwords secure. So here we have it, OneLogin. If you use them, newsflash, you have to change your passwords now because they were hit with a data breach. So this is coming from BBC, and they're saying that encrypted information has been accessed during a data breach at the password management service OneLogin, saying that it affects all customers served by our US data center and that the ability to decrypt encrypted data. So those affected have been advised to visit a registration-only support page outlining the steps they need to take, and that that security experts said the breach was embarrassing and showed every company is open to attack. Even companies that are designed to keep you safe are still vulnerable. This is always the truth. So so they said that OneLogin is a single sign-on service, allowing users to access multiple apps and sites with just one password. And that in 2013, the company had 700 business customers that passed 12 million licensed users. Wow. So they said that we have since blocked this unauthorized access, reported the matter to law enforcement, and are working with an independent security firm to determine how the unauthorized access happened. We are actively working to determine how best to prevent such an incident from occurring in the future. One would hope so. So, users who log into the site have a list of steps designed to minimize their risk to their data, including forcing a password reset for all users, generating new security credentials and certificates from apps and sites, and recycling secrets stored in OneLogin's secure notes. So they said that, we understand how frustrating this might be, and thank you for the patience while we continue to investigate. So again, the entire point of this is to create passwords that are nigh uncrackable. And the problem with passwords that are nigh uncrackable are that they were very hard to they're very hard to remember because they contain uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numbers, spaces, things like that. They contain a lot of parameters that people are not going to easily remember. So, yep, it's very, very serious. When your security company gets hacked, you really need to set up and take note. And again, if you are a OneLogin customer, be sure to reset everything and start over from scratch. I know it's a pain in the head, it's a pain in the butt, but you should really do it. So there you have it. And yeah, as they said, I think rightly so, embarrassing. All right, so let's see. We have time for just one more story, and we're not going to get into net neutrality, but there's a new tactic that the FCC is trying to pull, saying that for some reason the internet is not telecommunications, even though it travels over wires. It helps people communicate, kind of long distances, as in, it's a telephonic communication system, but okay, they're trying to reclassify it. So yeah, we're not going to get into net neutrality, but how about we do this one? This one's fun. This one is in the neighborhood of big numbers. So Apple, you may know them. They have this thing called the App Store. And the App Store, for those of you who have been living under a rock, is your one-stop shop if you happen to use anything in the iOS. Everything has to come out of the App Store. It's the way that they keep a closed ecosystem. Well, here we have it, saying that Apple announced today that app developers have earned over $70 billion through the App Store since its launch in 2008. And as ever, the revenue split between Apple and its app developers is 70-30 for most purchases, meaning that users have spent over $100 billion in the App Store. $100 billion have flowed through the App Store. That is crazy. And that the company also announced that the app downloads have increased over 70% just in the last year, with photo and video apps nearing a 90% growth. People and video and photo apps, think like Snapchat, things like that. So Apple's ever-increasing camera quality and everyone's love of photo sharing likely play into how well these types of apps continue to do. So there's more, including that companies like Spotify, Netflix, and YouTube often pass Apple's take on to the customer, making it more expensive to get these services through the App Store, and then through the providers themselves. So Spotify has even gone so far as to encourage customers to cancel their iTunes subscription for the service and sign up directly through Spotify to avoid the paying higher fees. So such a move could be beneficial to both those shopping in the App Store and Apple itself. Apple's announcement comes days after its annual Worldwide Developers Conference, which kicks off Monday. That's right, and we'll definitely be covering that here on Computer America, the Worldwide Developers Conference, and Engadget will be live blogging the event along with everything else. So, yep, and again, this article did come from Engadget. And yeah, the idea that $100 billion since 2008, not even a decade later. $100 billion have flowed through the App Store. a lot of people have made a lot of money. And yeah,
90 seconds.
one of those people is certainly Apple. So there you have it. And yeah, folks, we're just about out of time. We had some other articles that we did not get to, including Samsung's mesh Wi-Fi system, which, homes are getting smarter. You have more devices connected to the internet than ever before. And Samsung wants to be your Wi-Fi hardware provider. We also did not get to the fact that Skype has redesigned itself and now looks suspiciously like Snapchat. If that's what the kids are doing, you can understand why they want to do it as well. So with all that said, everyone, we are just about out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in to Computer America here. And tune in tomorrow as we have on the program, let me get this right. Tune in tomorrow as we have on the program Unglue. That's right, Unglue. And they are, unglue.com. Check them out. But we'll be talking and interviewing their CEO and co-founder here on the program tomorrow. So until then, everyone, have a great day. See you then. Bye-bye, everyone.
Ten seconds.